Hi everybody, it's James with Cryptoconsh, and today we're going to look at a new stablecoin on the Cosmos from Comdex. Understandably, stablecoins have lost the confidence and trust of many in the market at the moment, and it's clear Comdex are working on methodologies to regain that trust. So their token is called Composite, and it's a collateralized stablecoin for the IBC protocol. Getting access to this is permissionless, it's all run on code, it is censorship resistant decentralized money, with the aim of being much more reliable than Luna. So today, now we know what it is, I want to look at how it works, the 4 layers of security and their usefulness, and what you'll be able to do with it. So let's get into it, shall we? So how does it work, you might ask? Well, today, to explain a few things, I will be using the concept of demand and supply. I don't want to bore you, but let me just quickly explain it. So if this is CMST and this is the supply line, this is the people that are willing to sell CMST. As the price increases, more people are willing to supply this to the market as the price goes above $1. The higher the price is, if it's above $1 and you bought it for $1, you're going to be able to supply it for the market and make some extra profits. And for demand, this is people like me and you to buy CMST at prices above $1. However, if some are really confident in the project, they might be. There's always some, isn't there? However, as price starts to go down of CMST, demand may increase as people are looking to buy it for less than $1 and make a profit on the difference. And then we meet in the middle here at this red dot known as equilibrium. This is where supply and demand meet, and CMST aim to be stable at this $1 consistently. And it should move back and forth based on this arbitrage I just mentioned. CMST outlined this here. So if the CMST is more than $1, you can buy it for $1 and then sell it for a higher price. If it's lower than $1, you can buy it and benefit from cheaper purchasing fees on the platform. So yeah, this is a common basic mechanism used by many stablecoins to keep the peg. But as we know, things are getting more complex and we absolutely need more than that. So, buying it then. The first interaction of purchase is already very different. It is collateralized, meaning you should be able to choose one from many of these assets on the Cosmos and be able to lock that asset up in order to obtain this token. So for example, if I chose Atom, let's say I have 10 Atom and the value is still worth $200 like it was 2 months ago. Not $100, oh, so sad. Now I collateralize my 10 Atom, which is worth $200 at 200% value. I received 99 CMST. You might be asking, why are you only receiving 99? Well, that's because there is a 1% transaction fee. That transaction fee is managed by Comdex, and it is variable depending on the situation. So they can adjust it depending on whether there's an excess of coins or there isn't an excess of coins. We'll get to that later. So now we know how it works. You put up 200% of the assets and you can essentially borrow 50% of CMST, and you are technically borrowing it. Now, why would this system exist, you might ask? Well, that's because it's part of the 4 layers of safety. Now, let's have a look at these layers. The first one is indeed important. It's over collateralization. So, with your 200 Atom, you've got 99 CMST. So you might be asking then, what happens if my locked up collateralized Atom falls in value? Well, up to about 25% you are safe. So if the value goes down by $50, you're still safe because you need 150% collateralization. If it goes down by more than that, however, you are put at risk. This would lead to partial liquidation where some of your assets are sold, not all of your assets. If you wanted to before this happened, you could top up your Atom, thus mitigating the risk. So this really protects Comdex as an entity and vastly increases the sense of security for this asset. Conversely, if your Atom went up in value to $250, you could actually borrow 25% more CMST if you wanted. It's all up to you and how you perceive the value of CMST moving forward. So let's go to number 2 of the 4 layers of safety. As we know, there is a fee for minting this stablecoin, and this fee is variable. So what happens is, if there's an excessive supply of the stablecoin, coins will be burned and a token called Harbor will be bought. Now this Harbor token is the sister token to CMST, and when one is burned, the other is created. This token is also used for governance on the platform. So if you can imagine here, a lot of people have created CMST, supply is very high, and the fees that have been incurred that are variable have also created a lot of CMST. And there's a stabilization mechanism here, where if the supply is too high, they will burn CMST, reducing this supply, shifting it back, and increase the supply of Harbor by minting Harbor tokens. So this one gets burned, this one gets created, and it looks like this. Burned, we are back to peg. Created, price of Harbor goes down. Burned, created. Burned, created. Are we getting it? Now onto the 3rd layer of safety. It is a safety day. If the peg falls, Harbor token will be created or minted and used to buy CMST. We can see here quite clearly, Harbor token will be burned, supply shifts back, pushing up the price, depending on how much they've created, of course. This will then be used to create demand for CMST and restoring the peg. So Harbor in this case will be the sacrificial pawn, but given the other safety mechanisms, it's doubtful it will come to this. And finally, level 4, danger. The emergency shutdown. Now this is important for a number of reasons. Look at this over 3 days. We saw 70% of the total amount on Anchor Protocol, around 9 billion, withdrawn in 3 days. That is absolutely crazy. That is the fastest bank run I've ever seen. And by shutting withdrawals down at this period, safety mechanisms could come in place, A, to rebalance, or B, refund investors. The reality is though, if you're over collateralized, you mostly have to worry about the asset you're using to collateralize. From the outset, with the safety mechanisms, it's a much more stable stablecoin. So the question is then, what are you going to be able to do with it? Well, I would say there's lots of things you can do with it. You're going to be able to put it in liquidity pools to earn a return, maybe with the Comdex token. You're going to be able to trade it. You'll be able to put it with other stablecoins. I believe the intention is to make it as useful as some of the big stablecoins already are. So that means in the future, there'll be a whole host of protocols you'll be able to use. Now, final thoughts. Comdex is a large organization with a lot of expertise in the finance field. These safety mechanisms are indeed much greater than Luna had. That is because collateralization is above 100%. If things go wrong, you can get out immediately with your assets. And on top of that, as we discussed, there are further mechanisms in place to keep the balance. Now the question is, how do people feel about stablecoins right now? A lot of people with their first toes into crypto lost a lot of money in the Luna crash, and it's going to take a long time for trust in the sector to be rebuilt again. There are certainly a few more hoops to jump through with collateralization for this one. However, that is the cost of enhanced safety. So let's see what happens. The Cosmos needs a decent stablecoin. And regardless of what is going on from a macroeconomic scale right now, tech is tech and the Cosmos will crush it in the years to come. So let's watch this space. Alright, that's it from me, James with Cryptoconsh. Hope you all have a good day and I'll see you again.